Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Golden Bachelorette's Joan Vassos admits new life with Chalk has been really stressful after Wichita reunion amid signs she might move to Kansas. The Golden Bachelorette Season 1 lead, Joan Vassos, recently admitted to feeling stressed in her new life with Chalk Chapel amid their Wichita, Kansas reunion and possible move to Chalk's home state. Joan chose Chalk as her winner in the Golden Bachelorette Season 1, although he was her frontrunner all along. Joan and Chalk were elated about their engagement, but they have since hit roadblocks with distance, family blending, and being in the spotlight. In a recent set of Instagram stories, Joan opened up about feeling stressed given all the changes in her life and lifestyle in the last year. While Joan didn't mention Chalk specifically causing her stress or the exact nature of her top stressors, she did acknowledge her sense of being overwhelmed. Joan brought up her admission while doing a promotional video for a stress-relieving supplement. Joan may not have outlined her stress triggers, but she certainly has enough lifestyle changes with Chalk to warrant those feelings. When Joan and Chalk got engaged during the final rose ceremony, they had a lot to figure out logistically, with Joan living in Maryland and holding her family as her #1 priority, and Chalk living in Wichita with his family holding the same place for him. Early into their engagement, the pair announced that they would be seeking to buy an apartment in New York City, which would act as their home base. However, that hasn't come to fruition and seems to be on pause for now. What has happened is the pair is having a cross-country relationship where they visit each other's home states and also spend alone time together on vacation. More recently, though, Joan has been spending more time in Kansas, away from her family, as Chalk has become a local influencer. The stress that Joan is feeling could be, in large part, due to the chaotic nature of her new lifestyle and the sacrifices she's making to spend time with Chalk in Kansas. Joan has every right to be feeling the weight of her new relationship and what it comes with. It's clear that Joan and Chalk are in love and committed to each other and the process. And it's understandable that they are having growing pains. With Joan's New York dreams seemingly tabled for now, Joan has to reevaluate where she and Chalk will maintain their day-to-day lives together. Joan is finding comfort in stress relief pills, and she believes they are working for her. Being thrust into the spotlight with interviews, an influencer lifestyle, and ongoing scrutiny will be continuous stressors in Joan's life after being on the Golden Bachelorette, and she is managing the best way she can. The landscape of Joan and Chalk's engaged life together is complicated, and as she spends more time in Wichita, there are more uncertainties about where she and Chalk will end up. Joan Vassos thought she had finally found her golden fairy tale. After the whirlwind romance on the Golden Bachelorette, she and Chalk Chapel were basking in the glow of newfound love. But as the cameras stopped rolling and real life took over, Joan was faced with a stark realization. Happily ever after doesn't come without its challenges, and now, after a tense reunion in Wichita, the weight of her new reality is setting in. For weeks, Bachelor Nation had speculated that Joan was contemplating a major move to Kansas to be with Chalk. The signs were all there. Joan had been spotted making multiple visits to Wichita. She had gushed about the city's charm in interviews, and even hinted at a potential lifestyle shift. But sources close to the couple say that her most recent visit was anything but a romantic getaway. It's been really stressful. Joan admitted candidly during a recent podcast interview. Love is incredible, but transitioning into a new life at this stage isn't easy. There's a lot to consider. Joan, a lifelong Maryland native, has deep roots on the East Coast. Her family, her friends, and her sense of home are all tied to a place she's known for decades. Meanwhile, Chalk's life is firmly planted in Wichita, where his business, social circle, and routine are established. Blending those two worlds has proven to be far more complicated than either of them anticipated. Their recent reunion was supposed to be a chance to solidify their plans for the future, but instead, it seemed to highlight the cracks in their relationship. According to insiders, Joan and Chalk struggled to see eye to eye on key issues: where they would live, how they would balance family obligations, and even the pace of their relationship moving forward. One of the biggest hurdles? Joan's family. She has been open about how much her children and grandchildren mean to her, and the thought of leaving them behind in Maryland has been agonizing. "My kids are my world," she said, "and my grandkids. Being away from them for long periods of time is something I don't take lightly." Chalk, on the other hand, has built a life in Wichita that he isn't eager to leave. His business ties him to the city, and he's deeply embedded in the community. "I love Joan, and I want to make this work," Chalk shared in his separate interview. "But moving across the country isn't a small thing. We have to figure out a way that works for both of us." The tension reportedly came to a head during a dinner with Chalk's friends in Wichita. What was meant to be a casual evening turned into a deep discussion about the future, with Joan visibly overwhelmed by the pressures of making such a drastic change. She was trying to be positive, but you could tell she was struggling, an eyewitness revealed. Chalk's friends were all talking about how great it would be for her to live in Kansas, and Joan just had this distant look in her eyes. Even more telling, Joan returned to Maryland much sooner than expected, cutting her trip short by a few days. Sources close to her say she needed space to reflect and process what her next steps should be. Now Bachelor Nation is left wondering, will Joan really make the move to Kansas, or is this love story facing an uncertain future? While she hasn't officially ruled it out, her latest comments suggest she's still grappling with the enormity of the decision. "I don't have all the answers yet," Joan admitted. "I wish I did. I love Chalk, and I want to be with him. But I also have to be honest about what's best for me." For now, Joan is taking a step back to evaluate her options. She remains deeply in love with Chalk, but she's also realizing that love alone isn't always enough to navigate the complexities of real life. And as much as she wants to believe in the golden fairy tale, she knows that some stories take longer to write than others. One thing is certain: whatever decision Joan makes, she's going to do it on her own terms. And whether that means embracing a new life in Kansas or finding a different path forward, she's determined to make a choice that honors both her heart and her happiness. Even more telling, Joan returned to Maryland much sooner than expected, cutting her trip short by a few days. Sources close to her say she needed space to reflect and process what her next steps should be. Now, Bachelor Nation is left wondering, will Joan really make the move to Kansas, or is this love story facing an uncertain future? While she hasn't officially ruled it out, her latest comments suggest she's still grappling with the enormity of the decision. "I don't have all the answers yet," Joan admitted. "I wish I did. I love Chalk, and I want to be with him. But I also have to be honest about what's best for me." For now, Joan is taking a step back to evaluate her options. She remains deeply in love with Chalk, but she's also realizing that love alone isn't always enough to navigate the complexities of real life. And as much as she wants to believe in the golden fairy tale, she knows that some stories take longer to write than others. One thing is certain: whatever decision Joan makes, she's going to do it on her own terms. And whether that means embracing a new life in Kansas or finding a different path forward, she's determined to make a choice that honors both her heart and her happiness.